The Manson Tate murder, crazy cut attack, or hired hit? Hmm. Let's see what really happened. So, Charles Manson, the leader of the cult Manson family. Boy, yes, Charles was wild and he spent a lot of time incarcerated. But we're not about to get into his life. Fast forward. Let's see what's really happened with this Tate murder. So, just a little bit of history on Manson, right? Back in the day when forming the cult, he first started in the 60s, started forming in the cult. He was a musician, a felon one. He never really succeeded, but he did meet some people. So back in the 60s, Manson hooked up with the Beach Boys producer Dennis Wilson here, and he introduced them to the music producer Terry Mulcher right here. In 1968, Manson wrote a song that the Beach Boy recorded but never gave him credit for. And when asked by Mulcher like why he was never credited, Wilson him gave him the excuse due to them taking over his house, living with him, destroying expensive property, that it was some money due back to. Oh yeah, Wilson was terrified of Manson to the fact that he abandoned his own home, left them there, moved somewhere secluded. And y'all, Manson threatened that man with a note and a bullet. So moving forward, y'all stay with me now. On March the 23rd, 1969, Manson uninvitingly went to the home of Sharon Tate here, where he thought that Terry Moultrie was still staying. He had visited this home multiple times before in the past. But upon going there, he was stopped by a photographer and Tate trying to figure out why he was on the property. He was mentioning Moultrie, but they were saying they didn't know who he was and was directing him towards the guest house. Going to the guest house, he came back a few minutes later. I guess wasn't getting the answer. But later that night, y'all, Manson was back, and he went back to that guest house, and he ended up talking to Ruby Altabelli, who was the owner of the current home that Sharon Tate was renting at the time. So upon returning there, he had a conversation with Altabelli, telling him how he was looking for Mulcher. But Altabelli informed him that Mulcher was no longer staying there. He had moved to Malibu and he didn't know where he stayed. He also informed Manson that he would be going to Rome. Manson asked could he speak with him when he came back, but he told him that he would be gone over a year. And Altabello and Tate went off to Rome. Now Sharon Tate was married to film producer Roman Polanski. And Pulaski was never really at home because he was always off out of the country doing movies and business. They married in 1968. Now, the murders took place of August 9th, 1969. If you were keeping up with me, I told you that Manson visited this house March the 23rd, 1969. Even though he was uninvited, he seemed like he knew why he needed to be there. Now, here's where the conspiracy kicks in. Even though the Manson family was known for doing all kind of heinous crimes, there was always some type of motive behind what they was doing. Because basically they was living life like hippies and bums. They was always stealing or trying to take something from someone. But this murder right here, they just killed. And it was said that it was carried out by Manson to go there and destroy everything and make it as gruesome as possible. And that they did. Now, even though Manson never physically was involved in any of these crimes, he definitely was the ringleader. And on that night of August the 9th, 1969, he had already recruited his followers to go in and do the damage. His main guy here, Tex, was the one that started the show, going up, killing someone that was trying to enter the gate. Then his three other happy-go-lucky followers right here was just so much proud to take out this gruesome and horrible crime of his, and they did it with love and passion. Now the kicker, Sharon Tate here, she was involved in this. She was an actress and a movie star, I think even a model, and she was pregnant at the time. Now there was a house full of people, including a guy named. Now this guy right here, Jay Singbring, he was Tate's ex-boyfriend and current friend at the time, and it was at the home, renting a home with Tate, where they also had friends joining them as well. So the night of the murders was very gruesome. So here's what I think happened. I basically feel, in my handy dandy tarot cards, think that this was a hard hit by Roman Pulaski. Yes, Roman Pulaski, Sharon Tate's current husband. I felt like he thought that Sharon and Sebring was having an affair and that they had some friends there that was all close related and friendly with all of them. And I think they knew that they was in on it. Now, did they know that it probably would have been a social gathering and all the other people were going to be there? I don't think so. But I think the attack was definitely aimed to be on Tate and Sebring because they got the very much worse end of the stick. Now it was violent for everybody. They was shot, they was stabbed, they was pistol whipped. I mean, the followers, they got deep in it. They did exactly what Manson told them to do. Now, if you remember back in the video, I said Manson, he knew Motra knew Pulaski, and it went on and on. And I think meeting Rudy Altabello was a part of the hookup of the deal. Now, Tate and Sebring, like I said, they was done the worst. Tate even begging for her life, being killed while pregnant, stabbed over multiple times, and she was even hung while still alive. Sebring was hung too, but he was dead. That's why I say y'all, they got the worst of it. I feel like it was a hit attack on them because they was playing in Pulaski face. And me personally, I think that that baby really was Sebring's baby, and I think Pulaski knew. Now, I don't know if it's in the reports or anything of Manson ever talking about it. I went into some videos, but y'all, my head started hurting and I was diving too deep. I really don't think this was no crazy cult attack because there was really no motive behind it. All they did was kill. They didn't steal anything. They didn't take anything. They didn't search anything. Manson, he was paid to do it. Now, the followers, they probably didn't see no money because they followed him. He was the one in charge. But this was a hit. And it's, kind of considered in some old movies that you will see to where they work around this situation trying to explain it. Manson was familiar to these people, familiar to this property, and familiar to this energy. This wasn't just a crazy cult attack. This was a hired hit. What do you guys think?